Yeah, there's good little. There's.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And I do apologize for a few little hiccups at the beginning of the podcast. I'm streaming from a brand new platform now, so it's a little bit different. The buttons are a little bit different, so I do apologize for that. But I really do appreciate everyone's time. We're here to talk about the Saints Week 14 matchup versus the Carolina Panthers. Both teams are looking for wins. One team has been eliminated from playoff contention, which is the Carolina Panthers, which any Carolina Panther fan would tell you that this season has been nothing short of a disaster. They had the number one overall pick in this year's draft. They drafted Bryce Young, and things didn't go as planned. They tried to put the right coaching staff around them, but after 10 weeks, the owner of the Carolina Panthers decided to fire Frank Reich, the head coach, McCown, the quarterback coach and the assistant coach, and tried to reevaluate the team. And then you have the New Orleans Saints, 5-7 as of right now, been up and down the entire season. This game, there's so many different injuries to key players. So something has got to give in the Caesars Superdome on today. If you look at the tail of the tape, Bryce Young, he's had a pretty up and down season. He's thrown for 2,055 yards, 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. You also have Chuba Hubbard, who is their leading rusher with 143 carries, 557 yards, and 4 touchdowns. You got Adam Thielen, the wily veteran. He's dealing with injuries, but he has 80 receptions, 753 yards, and 4 touchdowns. As of the New Orleans Saints, I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now, quarterback Derek Carr will be playing in this game. He has cleared concussion protocol. He cleared it on Friday, and now he's going to be playing in this game. And the Saints are going to have to change some things up offensively because now they're going to be without a guy who has provided a spark throughout the entire season, which is Taysom Hill. He will not be in this game dealing with a foot and a hand injury. You also have Rashid Shaheed. He's going to be out in this game. And the Saints are going to have to find ways in order to win and try to generate some type of offensive efficiency without the help of Taysom Hill. But this is a game where, in my opinion, I feel like this should be a game that the Saints should win. But I feel like we've been saying this all season long. This should be a win for the New Orleans Saints, and it hasn't been. The last time the New Orleans Saints played the Carolina Panthers was earlier in the season. The Saints won 20-13. The game wasn't really that close. It was just towards the end of the game, Carolina started to rally a little bit after Saints started to change around their defense to become a little bit more of a prevent defense. But I expect for the Carolina Panthers to play hard, to play strong. Even though they don't have a first-round draft pick, these guys are a very, very prideful bunch. And we all know in the NFL, when you have teams that are failing, misery loves company. And if they can try to provide some type of misery to you, would be the better. I would sit up here and say that I'm confident that the Saints are going to win this football game, but I'm not. This would not surprise me at all if the New Orleans Saints lose this football game because we all know that the Saints have an incompetent coaching staff, and no matter who the Saints go up against, they always seem to be a day late and a dollar short. I'm not expecting for the New Orleans Saints to lose, but once again, who would be surprised at this particular point? I think that I speak for everybody in the Who Dat Nation when I say that we're tired of watching this stagnant football team, and we're tired of Saints management trying to convince us that this is the best that they can do, because in my opinion, they're acting really, really lazy. And it just seems to me that they don't want things to change. Maybe they're the old person that just don't want to move out the house, right? Even though everything around them, seems to change. There's a coffee shop across the street. There's a yoga instructor hall down the road as well. But it reminds me of maybe Meet the Robinsons. I don't know if y'all ever seen that Disney movie, but this old man refuses to sell his house to a construction company, even though everything around him was brand new and everything was moving forward. So maybe this is one of those cases where Mickey Loomis is Mr. Fredrickson. That's it. That's who he is. Mr. Fredrickson. That's who he is. Maybe he's just one of those people that don't want to look at change. He rather just continue to dig in the crates to listen to old, I don't know, Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra CDs or records or something. I don't know. But you need to embrace the future if you're going to go anywhere. That's in life, or in this case, going forward as a football team. But I expect for the Saints to win this football game. But once again, it would not surprise me at all if they didn't. But let me go ahead and read some of the comments, and then we'll go from there. Thank you all for being here. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna start from the top here. And thank you. Unknown says this is a must lose game. Mike says Carr sucks. And then we have Charles here. Charles Nash says, who that baby? So he's repping the Who That Nation loud and proud. So shouts out to you, man. Appreciate you all for being here. But this should be a game where I just feel like both teams are going to try to find ways to get the competitive edge. I look at the New Orleans Saints. The way I feel the Saints are going to have to attack this game is through the running game. They're going to have to utilize Jamal Williams. They're going to have to utilize Alvin Kamara. And maybe Jamal Williams can be a little bit more effective now that, Taysom Hill is not a part of the rotation. I mean, Jamal Williams was signed by the New Orleans Saints to provide that spark and that 1-2 punch. But I also learned something about Jamal Williams as I was watching him. He's one of those guys that's more like a preheat runners. And by that, I mean, the more carries he gets, the hotter he gets, the stronger he becomes. And I just think that those 3 and 4 carries that he gets per game is just not it. And I think the Saints need to utilize him because the Carolina Panthers have struggled to stop the run throughout the season. Their strong suit is their passing defense, which I feel like if they're going to put the ball in the air, I'm talking about the Saints, it might be to the advantage of the Carolina Panthers. And as far as the Carolina Panthers, I mean, the Saints are going to have to find a way to neutralize the run. For the last couple of weeks, the Saints have not been able to stop the run. Teams have gashed them, rather it's the quarterback scrambling. So I see opportunities there for Bryce Young to be able to scramble out of the pocket to pick up first downs. And also Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders running the football as well. So the Saints are going to have to find a way to stop the run in order to put the ball into the hands of Bryce Young and let Bryce Young beat him. And in this stage of his career, in his young football life, I don't think that he has what it takes at this point to be able to beat the Saints solely with his arm. And if you look at the Carolina Panthers, there aren't many weapons that he can have at his disposal. I mean, for the exception of Adam Thielen, who is leaps and bounds when it comes to receptions away from the next guy, which is like Jonathan Mingo. I mean, it just tells you that is the is-all and be-all of the passing game. Now, you got some young guys out there like Jonathan Mingo, the rookie out of Ole Miss, who has been coming on as of late. You got Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders catching the ball out of the backfield. You got some tight end help, but Hayden Hurst, unfortunately, is out. He's dealing with severe concussion symptoms. So we got to pray for that brother on that. But all in all, you got to find a way in order for you to find a way to try to get pressure on Bryce Young, speed up that clock, and cause him to make mistakes. I think that he's trending in the right direction. I think that once the Carolina Panthers get the right coaching staff in there and the owner becomes a little bit patient, maybe, Bryce Young can live up to his true potential. But it's hard to do that when you don't really have too many weapons at your disposal. Despite what people may think about Derek Carr, he is playing in this game. You got to look at this two ways. Number one, you can look at it in a way like Derek Carr is a very, very tough SOB that will stop at nothing to play on Sundays, and that you got to respect. Or you got to look at it another way, like the Saints are just they have absolutely no confidence in Jameis Winston whatsoever, that they're willing to take a 65% or a 55% Derek Carr over him, which in my opinion is pretty sad because, this is an opportunity for, in my opinion, this is an opportunity for Derek Carr to maybe rest before you actually go on a little bit of a run here. This is a team that is 1-11, a team that is trying to figure some things out. And even though they may throw a couple curveballs at you every now and then, that doesn't mean that the Saints don't have what it takes to win. It tells you, in some cases, they don't have confidence in Jameis Winston, or it's just the fact that they just don't want to have that conversation with Derek Carr and look at the future and look at the fact that this guy is tied to you for the next couple of years. So if you get this guy all banged up and tore up, you're going to have yourself a rough 2 years with his contract remaining before you can actually get up out of the situation. I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand why the New Orleans Saints are just adamant on sending this guy out here. No disrespect, but it's not like he's tearing the world up. It's not like he's up here wrecking shop. It's not like he's putting on an MVP type performance. I mean, he is about pedestrian at best. It's not like you're missing something if he's out there. It's very vanilla football that we're talking about here. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to lobby for Jameis Winston to be the quarterback. I'm just saying, like, if you care about this guy in the ways that you're saying, why would you put him out here going up against a team that's 1-11 when you had opportunity to maybe sit him for a week, allow Jameis Winston or Jake Hayner, whoever you want to choose, to go out there, play the quarterback position, and let Derek Carr come back the next week against the New York Giants? But it's too much like right, and we already see that this New Orleans Saints coaching staff are just a bunch of puppets. They have absolutely no aggression, no alpha dogs out there. So I guess let this man basically destroy his body, and in this case, destroy his mind, because you can't have a tough conversation with him and let him know that you actually care about his well-being. I don't know. And then also, this is also something that may seem controversial, but this is one of the main reasons why New Orleans Saints fans feel that maybe Derek Carr isn't being as genuine as he should be about his injuries. That's why a lot of people feel this way. Maybe they feel like he's faking it, or maybe he's not being as open about his concussion symptoms. Maybe he's saying he has concussion symptoms and then all of a sudden, miraculously, he doesn't have them anymore. So this is the type of stuff that comes out, and this is what makes Saints fans feel that this dude is maybe faking it, maybe playing a sympathy role. The fact that he got booed at the beginning of the game, and everybody knows by now that Derek Carr isn't the toughest of skin when it comes to people criticizing him. So maybe he felt, look how good I'm playing. You guys want to boo me? Well, let's see what Jameis Winston can do. Maybe he's one of those guys. This is one of those situations to me when you have a guy that gets knocked out of a game and then 3 days later, he's out there playing, right? And you had 2 concussions in less than 3 weeks. And you're out there playing as if nothing happened, and you're clearing protocol and you're so well enough to play. These are the type of narratives that people run with because they see this type of stuff and they're wondering to themselves, if this guy is just so badly damaged when it comes to his AC joint and he can't play in a game, how is it that he can get knocked out the game but don't come back, but able to play the next week? So take it for what it is right there. I'm just saying that this is the type of stuff where when people have these conversations, you can't really get upset with them for asking these type of questions, because how is it that this guy is so injured, but he plays every single week? I'm just wondering. And like I said, you can look at it 2 different ways. He's a warrior, or the team just don't trust Jameis Winston. This is from Hemisphere. He says, TJ, they will ride Carr till the wheels fall off. There is a job on the line today. DA needs this man on the field, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. That's a good point right there. And Hemisphere, you hit the nail on the head. Make no mistake about it. Dennis Allen's job is on the line here today. If they lose to the Carolina Panthers, there is absolutely nothing that the Saints organization can sell the Saints fans to make them believe that Dennis Allen is the future of this team. As a matter of fact, I'll go a little bit deeper. If Dennis Allen, New Orleans Saints team, does not win today, they might as well fire him tomorrow. Like, seriously, they might as well fire him tomorrow. Because I know that you have a lot of people in the media that are trying to like give us these different scenarios, and justifiably so. Like, they want you to be able to stay, they want you to be able to stay engaged with the team, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because it helps everybody, right? It helps the podcast like mine. It helps the publications that they're writing. But I love everybody here. I love doing this podcast, but I'm not going to sell anybody short. The Saints have to win the division in order for them to make the playoffs. If you look at who the Saints have lost to and the positioning of those teams, the Saints, the only way that they can win the division is that they have got to win out. They got to win it. They got to win out because they don't have any tiebreakers, right? Okay, if Minnesota is in a hunt, you lost that tiebreaker. If Green Bay is in a tiebreaker, you lost that. Honestly, if you lose to the Rams or any of these other teams, you automatically lose tiebreakers. And if you look at it, Green Bay and the Vikings are already ahead of the Saints. So the only way that you can make the playoffs, you got to win a division. And you got to win the rest of these games. It's just that plain and simple. There is no scenario that anybody can put out there, for the exception of them trying to put it out there so you can continue to look at what they're doing or what they're writing. They have to win the division. So that's what I'm saying. If Dennis Allen loses this game today, the Saints might as well fire him because you're not going to win the division and you're not going to make the playoffs. So why are you sitting around here trying to sell us on Dennis Allen? Because it would be pretty clear that he cannot even beat a 1-11 team that fired their head coach, which we already seen this before because we seen that he couldn't beat a snake-bitten Carolina Panthers team last year that fired their head coach the following week after he beat your team. So we already know this, all right? So he has a history of losing to coaches that are fighting for their coaching life. But I digress. If he doesn't win today, there's nothing anybody can say. And Mickey Loomis might as well just, miss us with this nonsense that he be talking about on WWL every week, where he lives in this land of delusion as if Dennis Allen is the answer to everybody's problems. If they don't win today, Dennis Allen needs to be fired on Monday. There's no saving grace after that. What can you do? What can you say that can convince the masses that Dennis Allen can help this team in any way? You can't. Mickey Loomis is still living in a never ever whatever land. He living somewhere. Saints need a quarterback. Derek Carr ain't it, says Anthony. All right. We also have Brian who says that's not going to happen. So I don't know if he's talking about the Saints are going to lose. That's not going to happen, or I'm not sure if he's talking about Derek Carr having a conversation with him. Let's see. Anthony says, should Saints reach out to New England and request a trade for Bill Belichick? That's a good question. I don't think so. I think more than likely you'll probably have a situation where Bill Belichick steps down and he's able to call his shot. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see Bill Belichick coaching the New Orleans Saints. The fact that Bill Belichick has had so much power in New England for so long, for him to just be over the football team as far as coaching it, I think that might be a little bit tough for him. To me, I feel like the Carolina Panthers would probably be a good place for him because I think that the owner, David Tepper, will give him the power that he seeks. I think that he will actually give him control of the 53. I think he will give him control as the head coach. I think that David Tepper will indeed do that. I don't see Mickey Loomis doing that with him. I think that when you're looking at Mickey Loomis, I think that he wants a coach in place that understands football, but also understands that he is the GM. So you're probably going to be going with somebody like, let's just say, for example, if Mike Tomlin was to, step down or get fired by the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I highly doubt because we know the Rooney family are very, very patient. We're talking about the Saints having too much patience. The Rooney family, I mean, they are the epitome of patience. I mean, they only had, 3 head coaches in their entire existence, Chuck Noll, and then after Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and then after Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. So that tells you everything you need to know there. A couple down seasons, or in this case, one down season, and Mike Tomlin, I mean, he's never had a losing season as a coach. So it'll be hard for you to just say, well, we want to go in a different direction for a guy that has given and generated so much success. But if in this case, Mike Tomlin would be a good fit because he kind of, he has grown accustomed to just handling the day-to-day operations of the team. And another guy, like I said, Jim Harbaugh would be another choice as well. Even though I'm hearing that he's negotiating with Michigan, that would be a good choice too because he's known for being a team builder. When it comes to Belichick, I just think that Belichick, because he had so much power all those years, it would probably be hard for him to, walk into a building and just be a head coach. That'll be tough. Tyra says, they will lose to the Panthers today. You can mark this down. And they still won't fire him. They will find a way to pass blame on the certain players being hurt or Carr not being 100%. Trust me. Yeah, that will be the saddest thing ever. And in my opinion, that will be when the Saints completely check out. That will be when Saints fans completely check out. Like Saints fans, for the most part, have already checked out. Like, we just basically watched this game with like no emotional attachment to the team because we know that the whole reason why this is happening is because Mickey Loomis does not want to embrace the future. Mickey Loomis is one of those guys that are still stuck in the past, trying to clamor and hold on to the days of yesteryear. And it's embarrassing at this point. And honestly, the slip is starting to show. And by that, I mean, you're seeing the incompetence of this football team and how behind the scenes, Mickey Loomis, Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael, these guys were all just coattail riders of Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And I'm comfortable with saying that because we have a large enough sample size to see them without Sean Payton and Drew Brees to know that these guys aren't very good without them. And Mickey Loomis wants people to give him the benefit of the doubt because, quite frankly, he feels, he brought in Sean Payton. He was responsible for signing Drew Brees. But once again, you can walk into a corner store and pick a lottery ticket, and there's a chance that you might win. It's a small chance, but you still got a chance that you'll win. And in this case, I feel like that's what it is with Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis walked into the corner store and won when it came to him deciding a head coach, and that was Sean Payton. Sean Payton was a stickler for detail. He was a tyrant in some cases, and he was exactly what the Saints needed at that particular time in order for them to be able to gain some level of credibility as a franchise. And now he feels like, oh, that was my choice. That was my choosing. So, people need to take my word for it when I know what I'm doing. But in reality, he doesn't. And honestly, you have to also take into account that he is indeed the executive vice president of the New Orleans Saints, which means if something was to happen to Gail Benson, if something was to happen to Dennis Lauscher, he would be the owner of the football team. That's what people don't understand. So why in the world would he be sitting up here caring about what we think? He can basically run this thing to the ground for the next 7 to 10 years, and nobody could do anything about it. Because Tom Benson, the late Tom Benson, wrote in his will that if anything was to happen to Gail Benson and Dennis Lauscher, then he is in charge. So you can fire him or tell him to step down as the general manager, but he's still over the day-to-day operations in regards to the New Orleans Saints in a direction that they actually go in. So the arrogance that he feels is not just from a GM perspective, it's from a partial owner perspective. So why in the world would he care that fans are upset? He's going to get paid regardless, and his control with the New Orleans Saints will not even waver at all. And that's what I think we need to come to grips with. This isn't just your typical GM that just doing a bad job. whiffing on draft picks and hanging on to coaches too long. This is a guy who is third in power of your favorite football team. And this guy can basically parade out Dennis Allen as long as he wants to without any type of ramifications. Now, they can have board meetings and Dennis Lauscher can be like, man, I don't think I like the way this is going right here. But at the end of the day, how can you let somebody go with that type of power? And who knows what the details of the will is? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they have some type of loophole. I would hope that they do. But it don't seem like they really have a loophole in this situation. And honestly, Mickey Loomis is talking on radio way too comfortable for my liking. His lackadaisical attitude is disgusting to me. It's disrespectful to Saints fans everywhere. And quite frankly, I'm tired of it. And I don't feel like anybody should abuse power like this. It's pretty obvious that Dennis Allen is not a good head coach. It's pretty obvious that Pete Carmichael can't call plays consistently and to help the team win every time. It's pretty obvious that the team has been dealing with the same up and down behavior all season long. And it's pretty obvious that the players are kind of tuned out when it comes to the coaching staff, and they want change as well. And as a Saints fan, I'm saying this as a Saints fan, not as a podcaster and an onlooker right now. Why in the world should anybody continue to root for this team when they stubbornly know what the problem is, but do not want to address it because they feel like that will make them look incompetent? The reality is what makes you look incompetent is your refusal to address the obvious, and that is that this team is not very good with Dennis Allen as the head coach. But there you go. Stroll down a little bit. Once again, thank you all for being here. For all those that just tuned in, talking about the Saints Week 14 matchup versus the Carolina Panthers and what this can actually mean for the future of the team. I honestly hope we lose the rest of the games so they make the changes we need. Leslie, like I said before, who's to say that they will make these changes? Who's to say that? Like I said, Mickey Loomis is third in power for the New Orleans Saints. So if he feels like all he needs to do is get an offensive coordinator and we can keep Dennis Allen because Dennis Allen defense is looking really good, or he can help the defense. Like all these different things. Like we already seen how he operates. He's a glass half full type guy, right? You sit up here and get absolutely embarrassed, absolutely slapped in the face, go down 21-0. But he up here talking about the scratch and the bite and the grit of the team fighting for Dennis Allen. Like, you out your freaking mind. One of the leaders of your team, Alvin Kamara, basically said that they basically play for each other. He didn't address the coaching staff not one time. Like, this is the delusion that I'm talking about here. Like, they rather sit up here and talk about Dennis Allen's strong points, right? That's all he was doing. Like, if you listen and kind of read through the lines of what Mickey Loomis was saying, a lot of what he was talking about was offensive struggles, and he was big up in defense. And who is over the defense? Dennis Allen. So that goes to show you that he has this complete trust. And I don't know what this love affair is between him and Dennis Allen. I have absolutely no idea. Dennis Allen, to me, has done absolutely nothing as a head coach to warrant this type of confidence at all. I said it before. Everything Dennis Allen touches turns to ish. Everything. You can have the best circumstances in the world. Let Dennis Allen touch it, it's crumbling. You had some of the best players on the team for 10 weeks, and you still could not be above 500. You had one of the easiest schedules in the National Football League, and you still couldn't be over 500. You played against pedestrian quarterbacks the majority of the season, and you still could not get above 500. I don't know what it's going to take for this guy to understand that the coach that he has is not very good. But maybe he just doesn't want to, because maybe it's just the fact that he loves this newfound power. He loves this newfound willingness or unwillingness to compromise. Maybe some of those conversations between him and Sean Payton being adamant about what he actually wanted, maybe it's the fact that he can go to Dennis Allen and say, Dennis, I need this, and Dennis Allen will jump as high as Mickey Loomis wants him to jump. And maybe that is what keeps Mickey Loomis bringing this clown out. I mean, maybe that's the case. But to me, you're going to lose your fan base. Saints fans are going to be disinterested in this football team because everybody can see it. Everybody in the world can see that Dennis Allen is not a good head coach, regardless if you want to admit that or not. Mickey is not going to fire Dennis, Pete, the scapegoat, this year. Yep, pretty much. As I said, the definition of insanity is what makes you look incompetent and inept. Let's see. Gail, answer your phone. And Gail Benson ain't answering no phone. I mean, like I said, I don't feel like Gail Benson actually really cares that much about the team that much. I won't say it. Well, let me take that back. I think she cares about the team, but I think she understands where her limitations are. And running the day-to-day operations of a football team isn't one of them. And she delegates work. And I'm pretty sure, like, if things aren't going right, she'll probably wonder what's going on. She'll probably ask Dennis Lauscher that. But she's not a football person. And I can't blame Gail Benson for that. Gail Benson didn't buy the Saints in the 80s. Her late husband did. Right? She inherited this team when he passed away. And this belongs to him. Belongs to her. So I'm not expecting for her to understand the day-to-day operations of the team. I'm not. And quite honest, I think that's way too much for us to ask for. But you need to understand that the people that are in charge, to me, maybe these individuals feel the power that they have. And maybe that's the reason why they're dragging their feet, because they know nothing is going to happen to them. Like I say, Mickey Loomis started out as just a executive on a team, and then he became a general manager back in 2002. And then all of a sudden he develops a relationship with Tom Benson. Tom Benson looks at him almost like a son. And I'm comfortable with saying that because Tom Benson left this man third in charge of a franchise. So you know how much respect you got to have for a guy like that? You know how much love you got to have for somebody like that, for them to lead them third in charge of an organization that you purchased. Once again, we cannot look at Mickey Loomis as a regular general manager. When I read the details of Mr. Benson's will, like, it completely changed my mind in a way that I thought about this football team. I no longer can say that Mickey Loomis is looking at this team through the eyes and through the lens of a general manager, because he's not. And when you know, like, think about this. If you're a millionaire, right? And let's just say, for example, you go to Vegas and you put down $20,000 and you blow $20,000. You lose every penny of it. Are you going to lose any sleep knowing that you got $1 million? Probably not. Probably like, man, damn, I lost $20,000, but I still got $1 million left. Like, yeah, you'll probably bother you a little bit, but not to a point where you're up at night losing sleep. As a general manager, this guy probably feels, the pressures of being a general manager, but you also have a trump card that you're the executive vice president of the New Orleans freaking Saints. So regardless, like, okay, maybe I'm not doing such a good job as a GM, but they can't fire me. Because like I said, who's to say the type of power that this dude possesses based on the fact that he is the executive vice president of the New Orleans Saints? We can't look at this dude the same way. Now, like, honestly, I'm looking at Mickey Loomis almost like an owner now. I really am. Because like I said, I really don't feel like Gail Benson is looking at the day-to-day operations of the New Orleans Saints. I don't feel like she's doing that. I don't think that she really, I'm comfortable with saying, I don't think she really fully understands the nuances and what it takes to really truly run a football team, getting the right personnel in place, all these different things that you need to do in order to create a winning franchise. I don't think she knows that. So she delegates that to Mickey Loomis. I don't even want to say Dennis Lauscher, because Dennis Lauscher to me isn't really a football guy. He is the top guy in the executive role that understands football. So to me, I'm looking at him more like an owner, more so than just the general manager of the team. It's different. She did fight to own the team. Remember, Tom Benson's daughter wanted to own the team. Um, that, but honestly, did she really fight for the team? Not really. What happened was Rita Benson, who I feel like at this particular stage, if she was actually a part of like the executives of the team, I don't think we'll be in this position right now. But she was running the day-to-day operations, like all this good little 2006 to Super Bowl era and all that kind of stuff. You can kind of thank Rita Benson for that. What happened was Rita Benson felt like Gail Benson was pretty much like manipulating Tom Benson, basically like on some old medieval time type stuff, the king laying in a bed and the wife caressing his head, telling him all the things that the family trying to do. And Rita Benson felt like at this particular stage of Mr. Benson's life that he was dealing with dementia, like basically being corrupted, having people around him that basically were trying to push the family out. And they felt like, he wasn't, cognitive enough at this particular point to be able to make just decisions. And the entire trial was basically to try to figure out if Mr. Benson had the mind frame to make these just decisions. But of course, the court ruled in favor that he could. But I don't think it was the fact that she was trying to fight for it. It was more so Mr. Benson trying to fight for that. It wasn't so much about, she was suing him. It was the fact that the family was trying to take this to court to try to win over, the courts to get ownership of the team, because I guess they felt as if when Tom Benson does pass away, they wouldn't have any control, which they don't. Like, he left them absolutely nothing. Like they own nothing. He left no money to him or anything like that. So there you go. Like, she didn't fight for anything. It was more so like his representation. And during the twilight of his life, he was in court trying to battle that as well, because he didn't want his family to be a part of it, own any part of the team at all. He felt like they were trying to, I don't know, like it got pretty dark there. It got pretty dark. It got pretty dark, man. He didn't feel like his family cared about his safety. I'll let you go ahead and fill in the blanks there. Let's see. DA is the organization's golden calf. That's sad right there if he is. No Taysom to bail us out today. We lose. I think Jerry Jones and how the Cowboys been since '93. It's been since 2009 for the Saints' last championship. Yeah, I mean, but even with Jerry Jones understood, like, man, I got to change some things up. Even he brought in his son Steven to kind of, running like the general manager role. Like even he didn't switched it up. Like, this is just absolutely ridiculous right here. Like, this is just asinine. Like, it's pretty sad, man. Think Rita told Sean Payton she had her way, he would have been gone after Bountygate. Yeah, she probably would. But this is the thing, man. I just feel like she ran the organization the way it needed to be ran. Like, you can't be making friends. You can't be looking at this like buddy, or we're family. You can have like that type of feeling when they're part of the organization, but you gotta have the huevos, the cojones to make tough decisions. And you can't just be looking at it like, oh man, this person right here, they brought me such a wonderful bottle of champagne for my birthday last year, or man, they were so wonderful. They invited me over to their dinner party. Man, miss me with all that. Like, these are great people. Like, you can think about this. Like, around the NFL, there's some great people, but you got to make tough decisions. Great people don't always benefit your organization, and you got to be able to make those tough decisions. And you can't be looking at those decisions with, like with sentimental value here. Like, you can't be looking at Mickey Loomis like you're reading a Hallmark card. Like, if this dude isn't doing the right job, you got to let him go. You got to let Dennis Allen go. I'm pretty sure Dennis Allen is a good guy, family man. I'm pretty sure he is. But this has nothing to do with him as a person. This has everything to do with your team going forward and him not having the ability to get the best out of the team. It's just that simple. And when they can make those decisions, that's when the Saints will make those steps forward that we need them to make. But as long as it's being ran like this, you ain't winning jack. You're not. Empty seats. Let's see. Empty seats will tell a story today. Yeah, and they will be empty. It's not like one of those situations where you can sell them to Carolina Panthers fans, because I'm pretty sure Carolina Panthers fans want no part of what's going on with Carolina either, right? So it's almost like, no, you have it. No, you can have them. No, you have them. No, you can have them. No, I insist. No, I insist. No, you take them. No, it's one. So if nobody wants them, right, it's going to be some empty seats off in that joint, all right? It's going to look like the pandemic all over again, all right? Yeah, like it's going to look like 2020. But in the case of 2020, like, people were kind of forced to stay at home, right? I guess you could say you kind of forced to stay at home now based on how the product looking on the field. Loomis is taking a page out of the MAGA playbook on deflecting criticism for the coaching to the Who Dat Nation. Look, I don't know what the heck going on. Like I said, look, you can blame whoever you want to blame. You can blame the Who Dat Nation all day, all night. But here's the reality. We control how this organization is going forward. If Saints fans stop buying gear, if they stop buying tickets, if they stop coming to the games, period, guess what? You're going to feel the economic pinch. And you can sit up here and be stubborn all you want to and say, oh, you know what? They'll come back. No, they won't. No, they won't. Like, honestly, who is going to keep on climbing a mountain when you don't have the right equipment? Who is going to keep on climbing on top of the mountain, sliding down, climbing back up there, sliding down? It is eventually you're going to have to come to yourself and be like, you know what? This isn't working. I'm going to have to go back down this mountain and start from scratch. Like, this is what it's going to be. So they can think that we just love the New Orleans Saints that much to a point where we will subject ourselves to any type of nonsensical play calling, nonsensical coaching if they want to. But I'm telling you, I've been saying this and I'm going to continue to say it. Saints fans are loyal to people that show loyalty to them. And when you show that you're not loyal, they will never look at you the same. They will love you. Like, I'm telling you, if you do something for the city, you show love to the city, you can go in any restaurant downtown, around, somebody is going to have a free appetizer or even, hell, a free meal for you. But if you show disloyalty in any way, or you try to question the intelligence of the Who Dat Nation, Saints fans, I'm telling you, they will never look at you the same. This is what people aren't understanding. And, like when people are talking about Derek Carr, and, then I'll just transition towards the end of the show. But I got to say this. This is what people aren't understanding about Derek Carr. And I don't mean this in any type way or a shot at anybody within the Saints media community. But you have some that ask the question, why have Saints fans turned on Derek Carr so fast? Like, they don't understand it. They look at it from a media perspective, and a lot of them, I'm going to be honest, they live in New Orleans, but they're not from there. And they don't understand the culture, the mind frame of New Orleans. But I do. I understand it because I'm from there. And I know what it's like when you tick off someone from New Orleans. When you tick them off, it takes a lot to get back into their good graces. Like, I expect for the Saints fans to boo this dude again. Like, seriously, I expect for him to be booed again because he showed through his actions by not taking accountability when accountability needed to be taken, by deflecting blame to other players, despite the fact that he didn't play well. People look at that type of stuff. And when they look at it, they feel like this person cares more about themselves and self-preservation than a betterment of the team. And that sticks with them. So when people say, man, I don't understand why they booing Derek Carr, it's just not warranted. I'm telling you, you cannot fool the Gulf Coast. You cannot fool Saints fans. Like, when you show disloyalty, or they see that your shirt tail is out in any way, they are going to hang on to that, and they're going to adjust accordingly. I'm not saying that Derek Carr can't win back the Saints fan base, but I'm saying it's going to be an uphill climb. He's going to have to do a lot in order to win these boys back. And that's what I feel like a lot of these people that are covering the team and writing about the team, not everybody, but I think that is what they don't understand. Saints fans are loyal to individuals that show loyalty to them, that show a level of realness. That's the reason why people still respect C.J. Gardner-Johnson, why they still, looking at some of these guys who showed love to New Orleans. And New Orleans will continue to show it back. But when you don't, you got an uphill battle, and that's what's going on with Derek Carr. So, and then on top of that, you got to look at how he came in. Derek Carr came in like he won something, right? And it kind of already people like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like the confidence, right? Because we didn't really know, like, okay, man, we got something here. He comes in, people just automatically, he got 4 kids. Drew Brees got 4 kids. His wife is blind. Drew Brees' wife is blind, right? And, he strikes me as a guy that kind of pays attention to what social media says. And I feel comfortable with saying that because he seems to bring it up quite a bit. And he basically marketed himself as this savior for the Saints. And then you incorporate the fact that how the media was presenting it, not just local, but national. Oh, if Derek Carr just gets a defense, then he can win a Super Bowl for a team. Oh, if Derek Carr can just get the right players around him, then he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then all that comes into fruition. You get the right players. You get a good defense at that particular point at the beginning of the season. I ain't talking about now. And then all of a sudden, like, you basically the same Oakland, Las Vegas Raider Derek Carr. And then on top of that, now, people are realizing that, you may not be all that you cracked up to be. And now you want to deflect blame. So it just did not look right. It did not look right. So there you go. But what do I expect for this game? It's very, very simple. I expect a back and forth game, probably a couple field goals. If you're playing fantasy football or you're doing DraftKings, I expect, I would suggest selecting defense. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you'll win some money in this one. But I don't expect for a high-scoring game. If it is a high-scoring game, it will shock the hell out of me. I expect for the Saints to be able to, run the football in this game. I expect for them to run the football more than passing the football unless they fall behind. The Saints got to stay ahead of the curve. You do not want to get a confidence to the Carolina Panthers out there and make them believe that they're going to win. Once again, I expect for the Saints to win this football game, but it would not surprise me whatsoever if the New Orleans Saints lose to the Carolina Panthers. And to me, that should put the nail in the coffin for Dennis Allen. But Dennis Allen, like the Undertaker back in the 90s, I mean, just when you think that he's down, he sits right back up and he continues to fight. I just don't understand it. I mean, I would feel as if I needed to commend him for this, but I don't. It's basically just because we have an incompetent organization right now that just do not want to move forward. But all in all, I expect for the Saints to win this football game. And I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast pregame show. We'll be back for halftime, breaking down the halftime first half of the New Orleans Saints Carolina Panthers game. And also the post-game show will be back as well. Win, lose, or draw. Hopefully the Saints give us something that we can actually talk about that's positive today, and we can move on from there. But thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy the game. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Yeah, there's a good little. There's.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.